Hey everybody, hope you guys are healthy and safe. So this is the Realme GT 7 Pro, the first phone launching globally to be powered by Qualcomm's newest Snapdragon 8 Elite chip. So the Snapdragon 8 Elite is basically the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4. It's just that Qualcomm has decided to rename its flagship silicon series. So this is the 8 Elite, and it is a top tier flagship chip that will be used in most Android flagship phones in 2025. So flagship chip here, and you also have a flagship screen. So this is a 6.8-inch OLED panel using Samsung's newest Echo Square technology. So this display is usually used for foldable phones, but it is now used for a conventional slab phone. Very energy efficient. The panel itself is very thin, and also it has excellent brightness, up to 6,000 nits, and also 120Hz refresh rate. And you have Realme UI / ColorOS animations are buttery smooth. So this is a very beautiful screen to look at. And the screen, it's not a completely flat panel like you would get in mid-tier Chinese phones. Instead, it curves on all four sides very subtly. It's mostly a flat panel, but it curves a little bit. So when you're swiping up to go home or swiping back to back up, your thumb is running through a curved edge. I've said this plenty of times. This is a more premium in-hand feel than a completely flat panel that you get from Samsung and Google's flagship phone. This quad curved screen, it's what is being used in all the top tier Chinese flagship phones, like the Oppo Find X8 Pro or the Vivo X200 Pro. So the Oppo Find X8 Pro is obviously this company's best offering right now. But the Realme GT 7 Pro, if you look at it from the front, it looks exactly the same. It's like the exact same panel, and the in-hand feel is very similar too. They have that wider frame with a quad curved display. So basically, with the Realme GT 7 Pro, you're getting a flagship quality screen and a flagship quality chipset. You also have an ultrasonic fingerprint scanner, not optical, so that's another kind of flagship component. And you have a gigantic 6,500 milliamp hour battery inside. 6,500 milliamp hour, that is insane. And the phone is not even that thick or heavy. It measures 8.5 millimeters in thickness and it weighs 223 grams. So still very comfortable to hold, but 6,500 milliamp hour battery. And let me just say now, yeah, battery life definitely can go all the way through one day, well into the next day. Now, I'm a very heavy user, so by next day at lunch, I will need to charge it. It's not quite like a 1.5 day phone for me, but I think for lighter users, it can definitely go into the next day, like past 5 p.m., maybe all the way till dinner. And you also can top up the battery at 120 watt charging speed. Charger included with the box. A case is included with the box too. So once again, you're getting high value from a Realme device. So 120 watt charger will top up this guy from 0 to 100 in 37 minutes. Now, the charging speed slows down at that final 20%, so that's why it takes 37 minutes. If you're not charging all the way to full, if you just want to top up halfway, it goes much faster. So it can go from 0 to 50 in like 40 minutes. And in fact, if you're charging in that middle stretch from say your phone's at 30%, and you just plug it in like 7-8 minutes, you come back out, it'll be at like 78%. So basically ready to go for the rest of the night. Now, unfortunately, I don't know the official global price of this guy yet, but in China, this phone is selling for about equivalent of 500 US dollars. 500 bucks gets you the Snapdragon 8 Elite with the newest Samsung flagship panel and a gigantic battery. Now, unfortunately, in the global market, the phone will have a little bit of a markup, particularly in Europe. I'm pretty sure in Europe, the price is going to jump up to like 700, 750 US dollar-ish. So I'm guessing the price is going to be like 699 euros, something like that. Now that's higher than the China price, but it's still going to be lower than whatever the Oppo Find X8 Pro or the Xiaomi 15 Pro or the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus is going to cost. Now, obviously, to meet this price point, Realme had to cut corners somewhere. Like you can't expect to have every flagship component for 500-600 US dollars. So number one is there is no wireless charging, but honestly, who gives a shit? You have a gigantic battery that can last you all day, and you have a 120 watt fast charger that plug in 7-8 minutes will already add enough juice to last you through the rest of the day. So at this point, if you still complain about not having wireless charging for this phone, I think you're just nitpicking, man. Like, it's fair if you say a Pixel phone needs to have wireless charging because that phone's battery is small and it charges slow as hell. But with this guy, like, why the hell do you even need wireless charging? I'd rather plug it in here for 3 minutes than put it on a wireless charger for like 30 minutes. Anyway, no wireless charging. USB-C port is just USB-C 2.0. And also there's no DisplayPort output. So that means if you have AR glasses, you plug it in, you ain't gonna see anything. Like you can't output the screen to an external monitor like you could with flagship phones. And also the camera system. The main camera is pretty good. The zoom lens is okay, but the ultra wide camera, it's pretty weak. It's an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera with a small sensor. So if you have good daylight, you shoot during the outside during the sun, it's still fine. But at night, the ultra wide is very bad. And also when you're filming video, you cannot switch out to the ultra wide in the middle of filming. So if you want to film ultra wide videos, you have to stop the clip and then switch the lens and then re-record that way. But the zoom lens is respectable. I'm not going to nitpick too much considering the price point. It's a 3x optical zoom with a 6x in sensor crop, just like all the Oppo phones, and the 3x zoom looks pretty good to my eyes. The main camera is an IMX906, 1/1.5-inch image sensor. Now, the hardware is not like amazing, but Realme's processing, Oppo's processing, let's be honest here, Oppo's processing is very mature. So a lot of the image processing that you get from a Oppo or OnePlus flagship phone is also here in Realme. The main camera is very good at exposing for the scene, so you can point it directly against harsh backlight. The shot will come out perfectly balanced, and video stabilization is very good too. But overall, I don't think people are buying Realme phones expecting tip-top camera performance, and I think this guy, does the job for a $500, $600, $700 phone. Let's talk about the chipset a little bit more. Snapdragon 8 Elite, it's going to be the most powerful chip on the Android side through most of 2025. So absolutely top tier chip, 3nm architecture. And this is the first Snapdragon chip to have its own entirely original ARM architecture. Previous Snapdragon chip used an ARM architecture adapted from other chipset. Not this time. It's completely built from the ground up to support mobile devices, and it is more optimized to run on device AI, large language model. And this phone does have quite a few AI features. The Google suite of features that you have previously seen in Samsung and Google devices. A lot of that is here. So you have Gemini, of course, AI summary, and you also apparently will get sketch to image. I say apparently because right now I cannot get sketch to image to work for me. It is not running for me. I think maybe because I'm testing this phone before it's like launched officially, but the feature is in here in the default Realme photo gallery, and I'm assuming it will come later after the phone launch. You also have AI eraser that uses generative AI. So it's the same type of eraser that Samsung and Google have been offering. Like you're not just removing the things in the picture by smudging it, you're actually removing that thing and then generating original pixels. You also have AI deblur, which uses AI algorithms to turn a slightly blurry face or a subject moving. You can use AI algorithm to fix that. The results can be a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes it works very well, sometimes it does not work at all. But it's nice to see all these AI features that Google and Samsung have been offering in their phones. It is now in here, built natively into the Realme/Oppo software. A lot of these AI features will also be in the Oppo Find X8 Pro, to be honest. Like there's so much overlap between these two phones here. Elsewhere, the rest of the software, this is Realme UI. It looks just like ColorOS. Animations are buttery smooth. I've said this for years. Like going back 4 or 5 years ago, I said ColorOS had the best animations of all the phones around. And I still think that is true. Like everything, it's very polished. There's a weight to some of the animations. Like for example, when you're swiping up on the app tray, when the app tray hits the end of a scroll, it kind of stops a little bit as if the apps have hit a ceiling, and then you can feel a little bit of a subtle haptic feedback, like a little bit bump in your hand as if you're scrolling up and the app has hit the ceiling, or likewise when you're scrolling down, the app has hit the floor. Little touches like that. Now this may not sound like much, it's not going to make or break your experience, but when you go back to a phone with a little bit more boring animations like Samsung's One UI or Huawei software, animations just feel a little bit like boring. You don't have the little touches that you get from an Oppo, Realme, OnePlus device. Like animations just feel a little bit more fluid, a little bit more alive. Like even the way the notification shade come down and go up, you feel a little bit more like, it's hard to explain, man. You just have to look at it. Just the animations are top notch in here. You can multitask very easily, of course, as is the case with Oppo phones for a while. So you can launch apps in the floating window or in a split screen. And there's also a dynamic island ripoff. Like, again, I've been saying this for years. I don't mind when brands copy good features. It's good to have. Like, I wish the iPhone would copy more stuff from Android. Like, it's good when brands take good features. And I've been a fan of Dynamic Island, and I actually like having here. Like, for example, when I'm recording a clip and I close the app, I see the little recording animation at the top, and I can tap onto it and it opens up a window. So I can pause the clip or continue, and when I exit out of the app, it goes back into the little dynamic island right here. So overall, no real complaints about the software. This is the global version, so it comes with Google. All the other bits of the phone are top notch, man. The fingerprint sensor, ultrasonic, fast and accurate. The buttons are very clicky, and you have very loud and full stereo speakers too. This is the Realme GT 7 Pro. Once again, if you are someone that's trying to watch your budget, but you still want some power in your phone, this is worth looking at. Now, is this phone for me? Unfortunately, no, because I'm still a camera guy. I want the best telephoto lens possible. So for someone like me, I'm always gonna rather pay another $200-300 US and get the flagship Oppo device or Vivo device or Xiaomi device. But if you don't care about photography that much, it's worth cutting corners in the photography front to get a flagship screen, flagship chip, and tremendous battery life for like 500, 600, 700 US dollars. So yeah, this is the Realme GT 7 Pro. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. It will help me a lot. Next up, I'm gonna have a review of the Oppo Find X8 Pro. I'm gonna be honest right now, man, there's a hell lot of overlap between these two phones. The software, the AI features, very similar all around. It's just that this guy has a better camera, obviously. So yeah, I'll be back with that very soon. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.